Much for joining us and for taking the time to talk to us here on NewsX World. Pleasure to have you. We now move on over to the Indo-Pacific, and a warm welcome and a red carpet in Tokyo today for US President Donald Trump as Japan's newly elected Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi rolled out an elaborate state reception for her American counterpart. The two leaders hailed what they called a golden age in US-Japan relations, signing new agreements on rare earth minerals and reaffirming earlier trade deals, including that 15% tariff accord reached earlier this year. President Trump praised Takaichi as a strong and remarkable leader, offering, quote, anything you want, any favors you need, unquote, to strengthen the alliance. Over lunch featuring American rice and beef prepared with Japanese ingredients, Trump congratulated Takaichi on becoming Japan's first female prime minister. Later, on board the USS George Washington, the Japanese prime minister called the US-Japan partnership the greatest alliance in the world and pledged to boost defense spending, a move likely to please President Trump, who has previously urged Japan to shoulder more of its own defense burden. The visit also carried a personal note. Trump referenced Takaichi's close ties to former Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, hailing the late Japanese PM as one of the best and recalling their strong friendship. President Trump continues his week-long Asia tour tomorrow, departing Japan for South Korea before heading to China for a meeting with President Xi Jinping. Okay, we are now joined by Peter Cardillo. He is a chief market economist at Spartan Capital Securities, and he joins us live from New York. Thank you very much for joining us, Peter. Of course, Donald Trump and the new Japanese Prime Minister seemed very close today. Relations seem good. What is your thoughts on Trump's visit to Japan?
Well, according to the press, obviously it's very successful, and the fact that rare earth agreement looks in place, and perhaps final touches on a Japanese trade deal is good news. And of course, the new Prime Minister certainly is a big excitement for Japan. It's certainly a big shift in terms of politics, and it appears that Trump and the new Prime Minister has hit it off pretty good. And in fact, you might say that both are conservative leaders, and so I think that's where that extra harmony of relationship is being manifested.
Peter, among the abundance of deals signed today, Trump signed a rare earth agreement with Japan. Is this a genuine diversification from China, do you think?
Well, I don't think so, but I think China is very important when it comes to rare earth minerals. But it's a step in the right direction, and I think it could be, maybe you might say it might be just an added cushion, just in case something should go wrong with the talks with Xi. Although I think that they'll probably go okay. I'm not sure if we get a China trade deal this Thursday, but eventually we will. And I think, it's quite obvious that Trump realizes that Xi has a lot of his own agenda, and that he needs to be able to balance out perhaps maybe what he can't fully achieve with the Chinese president.
Peter, do stay with us. We have further updates from that visit. And because while addressing business leaders at dinner in Tokyo, US President Donald Trump said there was a long list of people who could take over the Federal Reserve. slamming the current chairman, Jerome Powell, as the central bank prepared to meet this week. He called Jerome Powell incompetent and a bad guy, assuring that he would be out of office in a few months. Powell's term is to end in May next year. Powell and Trump have had disagreements over monetary policy and the independence of the central bank, and Trump has long advocated for lower interest rates, arguing they stimulate economic growth and are essential for keeping the US competitive. However, Powell maintained a steady rate to ensure inflation was under control, resisting Trump's repeated calls for deeper cuts. President Trump also stated that he wanted Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent to take over the position, but the latter declined. The statement reflects the struggle between intergovernmental institutions in the US government amid allegations from Democrats against Trump of destroying democratic norms of the state. The recently organized No Kings protest was a reflection of such sentiments in the United States. Peter, Trump openly threatens to replace the Federal Reserve chair. How dangerous is this political interference in the markets for market confidence?
Well, just let's say, this is nothing new. This feud has been going on since Trump took office and even before. So the markets understand what Trump is likely to do and probably will do. Obviously, his term is up, so he's going to be out. He certainly has been walking in a dangerous minefield when it comes to the Federal Reserve. The markets would not like if Trump would to relinquish Powell from his duties before his term ends, and so he has tried it and has failed. And Powell has basically done what the Fed should be doing, trying to balance the economics growth while eyeing inflation and eyeing the labor market. So that's the mandate that Congress, right, gave to the Federal Reserve, and Powell is basically doing just that. Now, there have been other presidents in the past that perhaps not as vocal or threatening as Trump has been with Powell, but there has been a little bit of interference from other presidents, and of course the Fed always maintained its mandate to make sure that the economy can grow without inflation, and of course without a unemployment market that could lead to negative growth. And so the markets, by and large, have ignored the threats from President Trump, also because his mandate ends in a few months. And so, if this saga, let's say, were 2 or 3 years away, then I think the threats could be negative, would be interpreted negative by the markets. But because we're getting close to the end of his term, I think the markets realize that President Trump will likely place someone who will be more aggressive in perhaps cutting interest rates. But remember that whoever the next Federal Reserve chairman is going to be, he's going to have to deal with a board of members, and that he's going to have to deal with what the mandate recalls him to do. So I think from that perspective, the market the markets, at least the bond market, has not really taken Mr. Trump all that serious.
Yes, Peter Cardillo, thank you very much for joining us and providing that great insight on that story. We now move on once again